live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. You are connected to from wherever you are. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra meditate on summer sky, the endlessly clear sky, endlessly clear sky. During summer, when you see the sky is endlessly clear, enter this clarity. These sutras are metaphoric. Meditate on sky. Sky means a space that holds everything. The summer sky, when there is no cloud, it is endlessly empty and clear. Nothing is moving in it. It is in total virginity. Contemplate, meditate, enter this clarity, become the clarity. What is the nature of this clarity? Is a space-like clarity. You can do another thing. When on the road there is traffic moving constantly, when the road is totally empty road, there is no vehicle moving at all, there is a clarity. So such is the nature of the mind. Mind is like a sky where the clouds of thoughts, emotions and feeling continuously float. When there is no thought, no emotion, the inner sky is entirely clear, crystal clear. Then you enter this clarity. So Sutra says, meditate on the sky, the summer sky, when there is no cloud. The sky is endlessly clear, nothing moving in it. It is totally virgin. Contemplate on it, meditate on it. And meditation alone is not enough. Enter this clarity. When you enter, you become this clarity. This clarity is of the nature of a space. If you meditate on open, unclouded sky, you will feel that mind is disappearing. If you meditate on the empty road, no vehicle moving in, and when the vehicles are moving, there is a disturbance, there is a sound. When the road is entirely clear, no vehicles moving, there is silence, a silence of a different nature. So you enter that. If you meditate on open, unclouded sky, suddenly you will feel that mind is disappearing or mind is dropping away. There will be gaps. Just as when a vehicle passes, after that, before the next vehicle passes, there is a gap. Now, there will be gaps. Suddenly you will become aware that it is as if the sky is clear. And you have entered, and this clarity of the sky has entered in you. This clarity you have entered into. There will be intervals, there will be gaps. For a time being, thoughts will cease, as if the traffic has completely ceased and there is no one moving on the inner sky, no clouds moving, no vehicles moving on the road. In the beginning, it will be only for moments. A moment comes when you experience, when you feel, when you realize there is no thought floating. But even those moments when you realize there is no thought floating are transforming. Yesterday, a thought was floating in your mind while meditating, that still thoughts are floating. Then you did not notice one thing. The thoughts were floating, but you were not concerned. There was a state of blissfulness. You were absorbed into it. By and by, although the gap is so momentarily that you are not even aware of it, but it is transforming. That is why you are feeling the effect of blissfulness. By and by, mind will slow down, bigger gaps will begin to appear. For minutes together, there will be no thought, as if between one car, one vehicle, and the other vehicle, the gap is widening, no clouds. And when there is no thought, no cloud, no vehicle moving, the outer sky and the inner sky become one. It is the outer sky, the sky above, the road in front becomes a metaphor for inner clarity, because only the thoughts is the barrier. The vehicles moving on the street is the barrier. The roads are made for vehicle to move. Thoughts are the very nature of the mind is for thoughts to float. You can be involved in it. You can be making a record of thoughts. What are the different thoughts floating? Or you can remain unconcerned. Suppose you are standing by the roadside where the heavy traffic is moving. You can be concerned. You may take note of the thoughts, vehicles moving, like thoughts moving. You can make a record. How many cars of different vehicles of different models move? How many private cars? How many cabs? How many transport vehicles move? This is the nature of the thoughts that float on the inner sky, and we keep a record of that. A moment comes when that has become a natural process and that does not disturb you. Suppose you are standing on the same busy corner holding the hands of your spouse. Will you notice the cars floating? Will you notice the different makes of the vehicles? Would you take note of those vehicles? Because you are lost, absorbed in your own inner blissfulness, holding the hands of your spouse, your beloved. You will forget everything. This is where, when you are dancing with your eternal beloved on the bank of the blue river, under the full moonlight, in the where the trees sometimes create the shadow, would you take note of thoughts floating? You are not bothered about thoughts floating, vehicles moving. You are entering into a crystal clear sky. In the beginning, as I said, those will be where the gaps will be of moments, but slow. But even those moments, when you are standing with your spouse holding, even if you are standing alone, and the thought of your beloved floating in your mind, You are envisioning you dancing with your beloved, playing the flute, and you are dancing to the tune of that clarion call that he gives. Would you take note of all the other things? Certainly not. It may be moments, it may be longer, that does not matter. For minutes together, there will be no thought, no cloud. And when there is no thought, no cloud, the outer sky becomes the inner sky. The outer space, the outer gap becomes the inner gap. Because only the thought is the barrier. Only the thoughts create the wall, the obstruction, the invisible walls. When the thoughts are no more, the outer and inner lose their boundaries. They become one. Outer is that you are familiar with, which is form. The inner, which is formless, you are not familiar with, but slowly and slowly you are becoming familiar with that. What was so unique? Krishna comes on the full moon night on the bank of the Blue River, under the trees, pine trees, and he plays the clarion call, the flute echoes like a clarion call. It is coming deep within from the heart. Deep within from the heart. It is the heart echoing, heart calling to the beloveds, all those to whom this sound can reach, and they leave like an infatuated mad. They run out of their houses, leaving everything to be in the presence of their eternal beloved. They appear only because of the thoughts and barriers. To meditate on the inner sky, meditate on the crystal clear sky is beautiful. Just lie down. You can remain under the full moonlight. Forget the earth. Forget everything. Just lie down on your back on a lonely beach or anywhere where it is comfortable for you. You can create that sky within you. Meher Baba used to remain in the room, never came out. He will lie down on his bed and he'll start looking at the ceiling, and that ceiling became the sky for him. The gibberish meditation, the mystic, the Sufi used to lie down under the open sky in full moon night, and constantly gazing at the sky will feel that the inner sky becoming one with the outer sky. But a clear sky will be helpful, unclouded, endless clear sky, the clear road with no vehicles moving at times in the night. There is no vehicles moving, or the gap between the two vehicles is so wide that you can drown in that gap. And just looking, staring at this star-studded sky, the unclouded sky, the boundless expanse, and then you enter the clarity, become one with it. Feel as if you have become the sky, the space. In the beginning, if you meditate on the open sky, not doing anything else, intervals will start appearing in small bits. Slowly and slowly they become wider and wider. Whatsoever you see stirs you within. Whatsoever you see is pictured, reflected. Whatsoever you hear is like the sound that comes from beyond. मेरे कानों में अब सदा फिजाओं से आती है. मेरे कानों में अब सदा फिजाओं से आती है. The sound that comes in my ears and echoes like the dissolving notes of an enchanting melody is coming from far beyond. एक बार जो तूने पुकारा था मुझे, एक बार जो तूने पुकारा था मुझे, ताज़ीस्त मेरे मन में बजती रही शहनाई. Once you had called me lovingly by my name, that intimate, that call continues to echo. Taziz erlong continues to echo in my ears like the dissolving notes of an enchanting melody. Those who are musicians, they know when the sound is dissolves or the fades away when you are ending the program, or the sound they fade it away slowly and slowly. So that fading, that has become my solace. I cannot forget that time when for the first time I came in your company and you looked at me so lovingly. That gaze, that sound echoes in my ears. You see a building, you cannot simply see it. Something immediately starts happening within you. You see a man, you see a woman, you see a car, you see anything, it is just outside you. Something has started within the reflection and you started reaching to it. So everything you see molds you, makes you, modifies you, creates you, defines you. The without is constantly related to within. So that is what happens. Look into the open sky, it is good. Just the expanse of the open vast sky, like a canopy, unbounded, no boundaries. Your own boundaries with that will disappear. You don't have any more boundaries. You are in open expanse. The sky will reflect within you. And if you can stare without blinking your eyes, it will be good. That's why with you, the meditation is started staring. You can stare in the eyes of your spouse. You can stare in your own eyes using the mirror as the reflecting media. You start becoming familiar with the inner sky. And if you can stare without blinking your eyes, it will be good. It will start creating an indescribable beauty, indescribable experience, realization within you. Because if you blink your eyes, your thought process will continue. At times in the beginning, you had a question yesterday. The eyes were not blinking, but thoughts are still floating. Were you involved in your thoughts at that moment? No, you were not. You were completely unconcerned. When you are unconcerned of the thoughts, even if they are floating, then the eyes do not blink. Stare without blinking the eyes. Stare in the emptiness. So your eyes become empty, creates emptiness. Move into that emptiness. Feel that you have become one with it. And the moment will come, the sky will enter within you. First you enter into the sky, then the sky enters into you. First drop merges with the ocean, then the ocean merges into the ocean. This is two words are used, fana fuel murid, fana fuel sheikh, fana fuel murid. When the drop merges with the ocean, fana fuel murid. And when the ocean merges into drop, it becomes fana fuel sheikh. And that too, and there is a meeting there. The inner sky meets the outer sky. In that meeting, a realization happens. In that meeting, there is no mind. because the meeting can happen only when the mind is no more. Mind is no more. In that meeting, you are there for the first time. You are there, not your mind. But as such, as you exist as a mind. Mind is there. Now mind is not there, you are there. Who is you? Your emptiness, your beingness. There is no confusion. Confusion cannot exist without the mind. The moment mind disappears, all confusion, conflicts, duality vanishes. There is no misery, because misery is also created by the mind, and without mind, misery cannot be created. Have you ever observed this for the first? Have you ever observed this fact? Any time or not, the misery cannot exist without mind. You cannot be miserable without your mind. Your mind creates the misery. The very source is not there. Who will supply you with this misery? Who will decide that this is misery? It is the mind. Your conditioning, your identity will decide this is miserable. This person is creating misery in me. This person is making me angry. Who will make you miserable? Not the other. You are under a pretext that the other makes me angry, other makes me miserable. No. Your mind, the way it interacts with that person, makes you miserable, makes you angry, makes you frustrated. That's why I never talk about these things. The miserable. And the same is true from the opposite direction. You cannot be miserable without your mind. You cannot be blissful when the mind is there. Blissfulness is the fragrance of the absence of mind or no mind. The mind can never be the source of bliss. And so if the inner sky and the outer sky merge into one another, the mind disappears, because the inner space and the outer space is one. Even for a moment, you will be filled with a new life, new vigor, new fragrance. You are as if you are in a totally transported into a different realm. The quality of life will be absolutely different. You sometimes wonder that the situation, the state is indescribable. It is because of that. Absolutely different. It is life eternal, unconditioned by death, unconditioned by any amount of fear. In that meeting you will be only, in that meeting you will be here now. You will be present, because past belongs to thoughts, future belongs to thoughts. Both do not exist. Past and future are part of your mind. Present is part of existence, is not part of your mind. This moment when no thoughts are there, there is blissfulness that does not belong to the mind. The moment that has gone belongs, the moment that has become belongs to your mind, the moment inner belongs to you. Rather, you belong to this moment. You exist here now. Mind exists somewhere else, always somewhere else, not here now. Unload yourself. I have heard about a Sufi mystic. He was traveling. He was traveling on a lonely path. The way was deserted, and he saw a farmer with his bullock cart. The cart was stuck in the mud. The road was rough. The farmer was carrying a big load of apple in his cart, but somehow on the rough road, the tailbound of the cart became unfastened and apples scattered on the road. But he was not aware of it. The farmer was not aware of it when the cart stuck in the mud. First he tried to bring it out somehow, but all efforts were in vain. So he thought, now I must unload my cart. Then maybe I can pull the cart out of this mud. He looked back. Hardly a dozen apples were left. The load was already unloaded. You can feel his misery. The Sufi reported in his memoirs that exasperated, the farmer made a remark. He said, stuck. By heck, stuck. And not a damn thing to unload. Stuck. By heck, stuck. Not even a damn thing to unload. The only possibility was that if he could unload the cart, it could come out of that mud. But now, nothing to unload. Nothing to unload. Unfortunately, you are not stuck in such a way. You can unload. Your cart is too much loaded. You can unload the mind. Mind is your cart. You can unload it. And the moment mind is not there, you can fly. You are weightless. You become capable of flying. This technique to look into the clarity of the sky and becoming one with it is one of the most practiced. Tratak meditation according to yoga, looking at the finger gazing, the light gazing, looking at into your eyes, into the mirror, or looking into the eyes of your spouse are the most practiced techniques. Many traditions have used it and participated. For the modern mind, it will be useful because on earth nothing is left. On earth nothing is left to meditate on, only the sky. And through the sky you enter the inner sky. If you look all around, everything is man-made. Everything is limited. Everything has a boundary, a limitation. Only the sky is still unbounded, fortunately open to meditate on. Try this technique. It will be helpful. But remember three things. Three things. Number one, do not blink, stare. Stare with wide open eyes. Even if you start feeling pain, tears come down, do not be worried about anything, but you continue to gaze, continue to stare. Even those tears will be part of unloading. They will be helpful. They will be blissful. Those tears will make your eyes more innocent and fresh. Bathed, you go on staring. The second point, the first is go on gazing staring without blinking. The second point, do not think about the sky, remember. You can start thinking about the sky. You are meditating on this space. You can remember many poems, beautiful poems about the sky. Then you will miss the point. You are not to think about it, you are to enter into it. Thinking and entering are two different things. Because if you start thinking, again that thinking will create a barrier. So just look, just stare. And if you start thinking, you will miss the sky. Again you will be closed within your mind in the process of thinking about the sky. Do not think about the sky, be the sky. That's why I said in the beginning, be the sky. Just stare and move into the unbounded sky and allow the sky to move into you. If you can move into the sky will move into you immediately. It happens instantaneously. How can you do it? How can you do it? This moving into the sky, just go on staring farther away and farther away. Go on staring as if you are trying to find the boundaries. Deep move within. So staring in the eyes is one of the technique that helps you move as much as you can. You can go far, go deeper into the eyes of the beloved, deeper into the eyes of your spouse, deeper into your own eyes. The very movement drowning will break all barriers, and this method should be practiced for at least 40 minutes. Less than that will not help, will not be of much help. When you really feel that you have become one, then you can close your eyes, because now you have captured the vastness of the sky, the depth of these eyes. When the sky has entered you, you have entered the inner depth. You can close your eyes. You will be able to see this within you also. So one question was there in your mind yesterday. At times the eyes close. Then there is no need to keep the eyes open. So for only 40 minutes, then you will feel oneness has happened, and the communion also has happened, and you have become part of it. The mind is no more. Close your eyes and remain in the sky within. The clarity will help. The third point, the 3 points I mentioned. The third is enter such clarity. The clarity will help the uncontaminated, unclouded sky. Just be aware of this clarity, and that is all around. Do not think about it. Just be aware of this clarity, that you have entered the clarity, the purity, the innocence. Innocence is clarity. Innocence is purity. The purity is innocence. Purity is clarity. These words are not to be repeated. You have to feel rather than think deep within. Once you stare into the sky, a feeling, a realization will come. When you stare into the eyes and start drowning deeper and deeper, a feeling will come. In the beginning it will be indescribable, but it will be blissful. The sky is pure, the purest thing in the existence ever. Nothing makes it impure. Worlds come and go, earths come and go, and then disappears, the sky remains pure, uncontaminated forever. The purity is there. You need not project it. You simply feel it, realize it, be vulnerable to it so you can feel it, you can realize it deep within. The clarity is there. Allow this sky to happen to you. It cannot be forced, only you allow it to happen to you. All meditations are really allowing something to happen. Never think in terms of aggression. Never think in terms of forcing something on you. You cannot force anything, really, because you have been trying to force things on you, and in that process you have created misery. Nothing to be forced. You can allow things to happen, and how? The way a feminine mind does it. Be feminine. Allow things to happen. Be passive. The sky is absolutely passive, not doing anything at all. So you, at times, in your act of love making, you are totally passive. So be feminine, be passive. The sky is absolutely passive, not doing anything, just remaining there, just passive, and remain under the sky, vulnerable, open, feminine, not aggressive. Any kind of aggression on your part, then the sky will penetrate you. Then the sky will penetrate you. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day. Let me just take a few more moments to finish this here. But if it is not summer, what will you do? The sky is, during the rainy season, the sky is clouded, not clear. Then close your eyes and just enter the inner sky. Just close your eyes so that, and if you see thoughts floating, just see them as if they are floating clouds. When you sit down under the clouded sky, you see the clouds floating. Be aware of the background, the sky, and be indifferent to the clouds that are floating, the thoughts that are floating. We are too much concerned with thoughts. Never be aware of the gaps, but one thought passes before another thought enters. There is a gap. Start becoming aware of the gaps. In that gap, the sky is there. Then, whenever there is no thought, there is a gap. The emptiness is there. So if the sky is clouded, it is not a summer time, and the sky is not clear, close your eyes, focus your mind on the background, the canvas where the clouds are floating like a paint, the inner sky in which thoughts come and go. Do not pay attention to the thoughts, pay attention to the gaps, the spaces that are created in between. For example, you are sitting in your room. I can look at this room in two ways. Enter, either I can look at you so that I am indifferent to the space you are in. This roominess, the room you are in, I can look at you. I focus my mind on you, that you are here, not on the room where you are. Or I can change my focus. I can change at the roominess, at the space, and become indifferent to you. Sometimes you become indifferent of the presence of the person in the room. You are there, but my emptiness, my focus is on the room, then the perspective changes totally. I am not looking at you. So sometimes it says that there it is said, you are ignoring me. I am entering the room. This is the process of meditation, but in the outer world, this is not accepted. Oh, you are ignoring me. I am not ignoring you. You want me to ignore you or ignore the space that is there. For meditation, I have to ignore you to become aware of the space. Just do this in the inner world. Look at the space. Thoughts are moving in it. The persons are coming and going, but the emptiness is there. One person comes in, another person goes, and that creates the space. That space continues to remain there. Be indifferent to them. Do not pay attention to them. They are not there. They come and go. The people in the airport, you can do that. At a railway station, the commuters are coming and going, but the space remains intact. It is in that space they come for a moment, few moments, maybe few hours, then they go out like a thought. They are coming and going. This can also be used as a meditation when you are sitting at the railway station or at the airport. Be aware of the space that is there. There is enough space that space can encompass all the people that can come in a particular terminal where your bay is. You have to board the plane. That space is there to encompass the number of people, but you become aware of the commuters are coming and going constantly. You are focusing on X goes, Y goes, a tall goes, a man goes, woman goes, the boy comes in. No, the space remains intact. That's why it can accommodate all those people who are coming. Those people, commuters, are like thoughts moving in and out. The same thought comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out, comes in. A commuter is sitting very restless. He's waiting for his flight, the announcement to come in. He goes out to the food vendor, comes back from there, goes to the next shop, looks around. He doesn't have to buy anything. He looks around, hovers, and the person there, oh, what can I help you? No, I'm just looking at it. So what it is this? You are just go on looking at the thoughts. You have nothing to do with it. Why can't you sit down quietly and start observing the people, commuters going and coming, and focus on the space? Space remains intact. By more people coming in, doesn't bother. These people, the commuters, are like the thoughts floating in the sky, coming and going, like a restless commuter. Have you seen, not the experience, the situation when commuters are sitting restlessly moving and standing up and then sitting, then going to this, take a stroll around until you please take care of my luggage. Just have a look at it. You are sitting here. Okay. Number of times I have faced this situation when waiting for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours a day, and you become restless. So your focus is on thoughts, on the people. Don't look to see who is passing. Just know that something is passing and be aware, remain aware of the space in which that movement, passing, going and coming is happening. Then the summer sky will happen within you. You can use any opportunity to enter the inner space. It's not that my purpose is wherever you are, whatever you are doing, let that be your communion. There is no need to wait for this summer. There is no need to wait for the communion to the place of the Master. You are traveling. You have to travel. You have to wait for your flight. You are in that space. That space can become your communion. That space will become the place of the Master. Because our minds are such that they can find excuses. They will say the summer is not. What do I do? The sky is not clear. It all depends on you. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow when we take the second sutra, when Shakti Devi says something. Take care and do have a pleasant day.